After I finish reading this first passage, I turn to my constant faithful friend Fernando and say, I've just read about this new legal scholarship called utility maximization. And what it shows is that the debate that we're having about punishment actually is not really two items in conflict, that they really, in line 21, are surprisingly complementary. So the main point of the passage, introduction of this utility maximization principle, shows that both sides offer useful recommendations that can work together. They're surprisingly complementary. And I learned this by reading this passage. And the fact that we could sum up the contents of the passage in the way that answer choice D does is how we can be confident that it's the right answer. I mean, it does the job that you would do describing the passage to Fernando. Question 2, for answer choice B to be correct, we'd have to actually have the passage making a contrast between crimes of passion and deliberate crimes. Something like, to charge deliberate crimes as opposed to impulsive crimes such as crimes of passion. Oh yes, the passage definitely does make the contrast to illustrate what deliberate crimes are. That's how we know B is right. In question 3, the utilization, I don't know, I think that was what I was going to say. The utility maximization holds that you commit the crime when you rationally decide that the benefit of committing the crime outweighs the benefit of being lawful. And in A, B, C, and D, we all have that. You know, they think that the utility, the use they get, the practical effect of the crime is better than not committing the crime. Answer choice E, while a common and understandable daydream among many an office worker, would not provide any utility to this worker. I mean, socking your employer in the jaw might feel good, might be morally right, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not an example of utility maximization. For number 4, both the utility maximalists in the passage and the drawing instructor in answer choice B are appealing to a law or a rule or, you know, in the case of the wording of the question, a principle in order to help us understand a fact of the world. So in our passage, you know, we talk about the principle of utility maximization in order to understand people's behavior. In B, we talk about the principle of the laws of optics, this law of optics, the principle's a rule like a law, to understand that two lines that appear to converge are actually parallel. In both instances, we're making appeal to a general rule to explain particular behavior. And that's why answer choice B is correct. In question 5, I want to point out that A and B are obviously very similar, so your difference is, did we resolve the conflict between them? Yes, we did. We resolved the conflict by saying that the two positions are not fundamentally in conflict. They're both right. In B, we decide between them, but we didn't do that at all. We didn't say, actually, now this lets us choose, and we choose this first type of policy. No. We said instead, as in A, that we resolve the conflict by showing that there's not really a conflict. They're surprisingly complementary, as it turns out. And finally, in question 6, you notice that C is backwards. If the expected utility of a law-abiding activity goes down, if it becomes less useful to obey the law, then we would expect more deliberate crimes, not fewer. Answer choice C is backwards, and that's why it's the right answer, and that finishes this first passage. So here's the deal with these free videos. They're intended to serve a very narrow purpose. For those times when you're wondering, why is that the right answer? You can just come here for a complete library and find out why it was the right answer, and I hope that you'll find that it was very instructive. Of course, the other part of the deal is that since LSAC publishes all of their tests along with test keys, that means that there's no barrier to entry for test prep. And you can hear the air quotes, I hope. Anybody can, and lots of people have, set up shop and called themselves test prep companies, and they've got the questions, they've got the answer keys, and they just try to explain to you why the right answer is right. And then they charge you money for it? That is wrong. I want to put a stop to it. I want to sweep the legs right out from under them. It is bad for you. It's bad for me too. So if you want to know what the right answer is and why the right answer is right, I want you to be able to come here and find it out for free without paying anybody for it. That's very different from what I do in the paid course. What I think has value about what I do is that I can tell you ahead of time what every question wants from you, what to expect from the right answer, how to formulate a right answer, and then how you can expect wrong answers to sound, so that you know before you ever open up a test book exactly what to expect. And all the practice videos that are part of the paid course are just me putting that theory into practice. It's just the rubber meeting the road. In other words, I'm going to show you, based on what we've done before, how we're going to react when it comes up next time. And that bit, knowing what to do the next time you see something, that I think is worth paying for. And if you agree, I'd love to have you in the course. And if not, that's fine too. Don't pay anybody to explain why right answers are right. Just watch these for free. Enjoy.